Here, joined by Eric Mackling, Mark Packer, LaMiles Brooks, defensive back at Georgia Tech. You had the honor of going on that DC trip. Reminisce with us a little bit about it and truly how much it means and bringing that back to Atlanta.
It was a grateful experience. I can speak for most athletes. Most athletes only know, their fellow peers within their respective sports and universities. I think it was a grateful experience to be able to be in one sitting with athletes from all their respective sports, from, different universities and institutes and things like that. It was great to hear their thoughts, hear how they perceive things and look at things. And, hopefully we can be the ones to take the leap forward and take it back to our college campuses and represent the right way.
Were there any kind of, action items or things that you came up with while you guys were all there that said, hey, this is what we need to do? As an athletic family, we have to be that example. What did that kind of look like?
Well, one, it starts with connecting all the sports, on your campus. Football players should know basketball players, lacrosse players, soccer players. There were a few girls who said they row, you know what I'm saying? So it's small things like that, building those relationships, and bonds within your respective sport, which could allow for a bigger impact and change on your campus.
Miles, as far as this football team goes, we've watched Coach Key last year really do a nice job. You guys bought into what he and that staff were selling. How difficult was that transition, and what are your expectations for 23?
It was difficult when it first came about. We were mid-season when we were kind of forced to go into a transition and things like that. It was different, but to see the fire and the desire that myself and my teammates had when he was promoted to interim head coach, it was amazing. I've never seen a group of players play so hard for a coach, despite all the adversity we had been through. And then going into this year is more so building upon what we kind of established and created when he was promoted to interim head coach.
How were you guys able to channel all that? Because it was obviously a bad spot. Anytime you fire a coach, things aren't going well. But then you guys started playing at a very high level. You had a decision to make. Do we kind of sulk and feel bad for ourselves, or do we turn it around? How were you able to channel all that positive energy going in the good direction?
Honestly, by his leadership. He kind of tried to change our mindsets. We looked at each week as a season. So if there were 12 games, there were 12 individual seasons and things like that. And just, stand focused on what matters the most. No one cares about the situation we had to go through. The game is based on wins and losses, and the goal is to go out there and win every week.
You're a DB, so you get to watch that quarterback battle that's brewing there in Atlanta from a different perspective. I know during spring you have scrimmages. Tell us from your perspective. There's a couple of guys, the Zacks, two of them competing. Haynes King coming over from Texas A&M. What's your perspective on the trio that's duking it out?
Honestly, it's amazing to see the relationship that all three of them have. It's respectable that, each guy's going out there trying to compete for the job. But the way that it doesn't affect their relationship and their bond off the field, it's different. It's definitely inspiring. The guys go out there and push each other. The 1 and 2 defense both get reps with all 3 quarterbacks and things like that. So it'll be exciting to see how all 3 of them are used during the season.
You talk a lot of smack to get in all their heads to see maybe who's the most level-headed when they're on the field?
Absolutely, but I do that with any quarterback.
I can tell you're a talker.
I do that with any quarterback.
Even if it's your teammate, doesn't matter.
I like the suit, by the way. Who's the sharpest dresser on this team? Am I talking to him?
Myself.
Of course.
You said what? It's ACC blue?
It's ACC blue right here. A little bit of cobalt, you know what I'm saying? Check the wrists.
I see. We see the wrists.
What's on the inside? Pop the liner for us real quick.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Oh,
bandana.
Just a little slight work.
Check the detail.
What you got over there, Pac?
Got the name on the inside.
I got wires.
It's the people can't see how good it is on the inside.
You look sharp.
Let me tell you something. You better get a good look at this, LaMiles, because you will not see me in a suit. Baseball hat and a pair of jeans,
Keep it
man.
simple.
That's
Keep it
it.
simple. That's all you need.
I don't need to impress somebody with this. I look like a banker today.
Yes, sir.
I've already finished off 3 loans during lunch.
Where's mine?
Now you're next.
Oh, great, perfect.
You got. How about this defense, man? I mean, last year there were flashes of greatness, and then there were inconsistencies and not being able to play at the level that you want. We saw against the Georgia game. I mean, you guys gave them fits, 2-time national champion. You guys, pushed them around and made them uncomfortable for a half of football there. How can you channel those moments to be more consistent to where you're playing at a high level?
Well, one, I would say eliminating mental errors and, non-football errors, things like jumping off sides, pass interferences. We can live with combat errors and combat penalties and things like that. So once we get on a more consistent basis on eliminating mental errors, we'll be good. We trust Coach Thacker and his game plan. I actually think he's very underrated as a defensive coordinator. He rarely calls a bad game, if he calls one at all. Some things come down to execution sometimes.
For you, I know a lot of players will write down personal goals. Are you one like that where you will put pen to paper and visualize it and see it?
Yeah, in a sense. I don't try to put a certain goal. I really kind of go out and play for my teammates. I keep it as simple as that. Whatever I can do to best benefit my team, that's kind of how I look at it.
Underrated opener, isn't it? Louisville.
Correct.
Big scene. I mean, that's a little conference game right out of the gate.
In your city.
They've got something to prove. You guys have something to prove. That's
Absolutely.
A good one.
Yes, sir.
I'm excited to see it, man. Again, when you look at the quarterback play, when you look at the dynamic of having a couple of different guys to prepare for, it's challenging. And, we're in a new world where if you announce one of them too early, right, what's going to happen? They're going to leave. So from your end, just looking at this team and people that have stayed, that have been through the process, what does that speak to you guys as a unit?
Loyalty. It's exciting to see guys who stay, but it's also exciting to see guys who come in and things like that. Once again, we're all here to better ourselves and each other as a team. At the end of the day, it's about the team and things like that.
LaMiles, I wish you the best, man.
Yep.
Look forward to that opener against Louisville. It's going to be a good one.
Thank you. It will be.